Kia ora, Lara here, and I am bringing Scraptember 3rd, and today's prompt is 3D layering. Now I'm going to use basically paper layers, some 3D foam tape, some die cuts, and I'm also going to use some white acrylic shapes as well that have got a little bit of lift in them. The photos here that I am documenting are more close-up shots of the trenches that I talked about in my day 2 video and layout, where we were walking through these as part of the Copeland track. Now I just want to apologise for my voice. It may or may not be on the way out, but it's definitely not my normal voice, but I'll just do these voiceovers as I can. It may be that some in the next few days become just music, but that's okay. It's just the way it is. So I have chosen this blue spotty paper as sort of a background paper here. Now this is the back of the dark blue paper that I used yesterday on, no, not yesterday. Oh no, it's a layout coming up later today that I've actually used the other side of that for a different YouTube hop. I knew I'd used it recently. However, that's the way it is, and that is from the Flower Shop collection. This green paper with sort of the squares on it, that comes from sort of a tropical Christmas collection that I have loved and still continue to delve into. So I've done sort of the 2 layers of the papers, and I'm just going to stick with that on the 8.5 by 11 background. I'm just sort of centering this in there. I've kind of gone with a compressed grid kind of style with the 3 photos and then this journaling block that I'm just sort of playing around with here. So you'll see that I've got a fussy cut shape in the back that I cut from one of the papers. I don't end up using that. It didn't quite work with the colourways or with what was going on. So that's okay. It's fussy cut there, ready for something else in the future. Now, sort of playing around with some of the papers that I could have backed this square frame. Now, both the flower and the square frame were made using print and cut on the Cricut, and they are both part of different designs, either digital designs or close to my heart Cricut files. So they're, a mixture of both. But I did find this paper that had sort of a dotty, sort of like a school paper or something perhaps, and I decided to use that, and I'm going to do it a little bit bigger than the square. I just wanted it to not look completely neat and tidy with all these sort of with the neat and tidiness that's already there with the photos pressed up together and stuff like that. So I am going to stick both of those down and just sort of a little bit semi-haphazard, so they're popping out to the side a wee bit. And I'm going to just add my journaling into here and just talking a little bit more about these trenches and what it was like walking through them while we were doing the Copeland track. So next up, I'm going to stick down this flower. It is going to fold over the photo a little bit, and I'm using some of the 3D foam tape on it just to give it that little bit more lift. And since the prompt was 3D layering, it just adds to that. Now I've got these white acrylic flower shapes from Close to My Heart, and I'm just going to stick a few of them at different points around the page. Again, this is just a bit more of that 3D or that lift that the prompt was all about and that I'm wanting to add in. So another way of making a bit more depth or layer in them is to wrinkle up the edges around the photos, the paper layers and things like that, so they make it more evident rather than it just being flat layers of paper. It gives that 3-dimensional look and feel, but I do this on most of my pages. So I'm even wrinkling up the sort of journaling paper that I've chosen there, and going to add a few more flowers now that I've done the wrinkling, and just tucking them in, popping them on at different points around the page as it sort of feels right, I guess. So I decide that I'm going to use the white gel pens to go around the photos, just to create a little bit of individuality for them. Now these pens flow really, really well. You've just got to make sure that it's an even, smooth line that you're drawing, and that seems to help keep the ink going when creating this sort of outline. And just doing the last couple of lines there. And it sort of looks finished, but it feels like it just needs a little bit more lift. And so I decide to use some of the acrylic shapes just to put into the center of the flower, just adding another little bit of 3-dimension, and a little bit of gloss and a little bit more interest in the center of that flower. Hey, thank you for watching. Check out the playlist below for more Scraptember pages and takes on the different prompts. Hope that you've enjoyed watching this. Perhaps you turned the sound down because my voice is a bit croaky. But if you have enjoyed what you've seen, I hope you'll subscribe and don't forget to check out that playlist below. Thank you for watching.